had one chance, where'd you wanna go? If you could name...
I had some brilliant plans for 2020. In March I had a trip to Riga booked. Nothing new apart from this time I was going to be going with Alex and Robin. April I had a big adventure lined up. I was going to go to Qatar, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and then I was going to finish in Sri Lanka. And in May I'd planned to visit Barcelona for a second time to see what I'd missed, because I didn't see a lot the first time I was there, and I'd hoped to also go across to Andorra for the day and then come back, just so I had another country to mark off my list. So coronavirus was becoming mentioned more and more in the media, and I never imagined, I don't think anyone imagined, quite how big it was going to hit and how much the world was going to change. I never imagined anything like this happening in my lifetime. So the world's been turned upon its head. Everyone has had struggles and issues during this time, some a lot more than others, but I think it's affected everyone in some way. So it's certainly very strange times at the moment, and who knows when normality will resume, or if it ever will resume in quite the same way it was before. So in March, lockdown finally happened in the UK, late March, a lot later than we should have locked down. And I'd already accepted by then that most of my trips would be cancelled, especially the trips to India and Sri Lanka and Bhutan, which I was okay with. The annoying thing was, I think, is it took so long to plan all of that, especially getting a visa to Bhutan. It's not so easy. And it took so much planning to try and organise it all. So that's the annoying thing about that, and who knows when I'm going to be able to do that trip. So going back to when lockdown, well, just before lockdown, I'm sure a lot of people have got horror stories. There was all the panic buying, the empty shelves. It was quite a horrible feeling going into the supermarkets and just seeing nothing left. It was annoying seeing other shoppers have 20 items of the same product in their trolley, leaving nothing else for others. It was horrible for quite a long time. Even during lockdown, it was very difficult to get certain products. I couldn't get rice or eggs until just recently, really. Probably the last month or so, I've actually been able to get eggs. And that's not even to mention the whole issue with the toilet rolls. I mean, that was just ridiculous. It would have been laughable if it wasn't so selfish and affected so many people in a negative way. That's what's certainly come out during this pandemic, that there's been so many signs of people being selfish with the panic buying, not wearing masks. Even now when I'm going to work, people aren't wearing masks on the train. There's lots of people that broke lockdown rules. Dominic Cummings, but the less said about that the better. There's a lot of positives as well. I mean, the whole clapping for the NHS, that may have been something that everyone just got on board with, but there were definitely a lot of people that genuinely supported the NHS and showed their appreciation. Walking down the street, seeing chalk drawings of "Thank you NHS," rainbows in windows. I think all of that was a very positive thing. I know a lot of people found lockdown hard. I decided to keep myself as active and busy as I could by making the most out of this downtime. And I think I did. I think I was quite successful. So for 3 months, from the end of March till June, I mean, I was quite busy every day. I didn't have time to miss the travelling or to miss the socialising because I was making the most out of that time. So one of the heroes during lockdown for me was obviously Joe Wicks. So every weekday for 3 months, he'd put on a live stream to encourage people to get active with PE with Joe.
Keep going, keep running. Faster. Come on, let's go. Squats. Down. There. I'll do my squat jump. Jump. Boing. Boing. Left. Right.
This has kept me motivated and it's kept me active, and I've lost some weight. I've got into a bit better shape. I've invested in a t-shirt, lost a bit on my belly, invested in a PE with Joe t-shirt. So I am going to continue to work out in future, hopefully every day if I can. So it was sad to see the sessions end, but it gave me the push I've needed for a long time. I also took the decision to give up alcohol, which lasted for it was over 100 days in the end. So it was over 3 months. And I can't honestly say I felt any benefits from it, because I think the working out each day is what made me feel healthier and more active and more full of life. Not so much the lack of alcohol, but I could be wrong. So just as lockdown began, I quickly ordered myself some jigsaw puzzles. So it was a hobby that I used to love as a child, and I thought, if I'm going to be stuck indoors for months, what am I going to do? So I hadn't lost touch, and I was able to complete each one in quite good time, usually no more than a day. I also used the extra time I had to improve my Russian. I found myself a language partner based in St. Petersburg, and we chatted several times a week, and it definitely helped. It was more than just, I'm still having my Russian lessons, but just having normal conversations with a Russian speaker, definitely a benefit. I also took part on online quizzes, murder mystery games with friends, co-workers. I began reading more, and I even purchased a PlayStation 4, which, although it did kill some time, once I can travel freely again, I think I'll sell it. I mean, I think as a kid I used to love computer games. Nowadays it's not so much for me, and I prefer real escapism to one just made from pixels. I also took the time to design my own website, www.spiketravels.co.uk. I've placed travel vlogs and blogs, various guides for anyone going on there who wants any advice. So it's partly as a memory of some of my travels for myself, but it's also there to help other travellers who I interact with on social media pages. So yeah, check it out. Baking is not my usual forte, but when I could obtain the ingredients, which wasn't easy because of the panic buying, I gave it a go. I've always considered myself to be a good cook, but I'm an awful baker. I think cooking is more of an art, baking is more of a science, and I've always been more artistic. I made some banana bread.
Alright, so today I'm going to teach you how to make a recipe for banana bread.
S'il vous plaît.
Right, as I say, it's still very hot, but let's give this a go. Brilliant. Tastes just like banana bread. I also tried making a Russian dessert called Napoleon cake. And whilst it might not look particularly beautiful or appetizing, it was delicious. The only problem was it was so big, I ended up binning a good amount of it because there was just too much of it to eat. Like many, my birthday was also during lockdown. Originally, I'd planned to visit the Taj Mahal at sunrise, as I'd have been in India at the time for my birthday. So the closest thing I could do to that was to visit the Raj Mahal Indian restaurant and takeaway in my local high street at sunrise. But it was so cloudy, it wasn't quite the sight I'd hoped for. So I've decided just to get up, walk down to the Raj Mahal for when the sun comes up. However, Alex is there. I don't know. But my good friend Alex joined me. He stayed on the other side of the road to maintain social distancing. I think the most heroic deed during the lockdown was rescuing a bird. I heard it chirping from the loft, so I went up to investigate. I can hear a noise above me. It's not coming from outside, it's above. It's chirping, so I think there's a bird up in the loft. There was a bird sat there, and it wasn't really moving, so after a nudge, it flew down the open hatch. So I quickly ran down from the loft, tried to find it, couldn't find it anywhere. My window was wide open, so I assumed, okay, maybe it's flown out the window. But quite a few hours later, I heard a rustling. On further inspection, I found the bird was still there. It had obviously been hidden for a few hours. It then took quite a bit of manoeuvring to try and get it out of the house. So I used a hat which I'd picked up from Montenegro, and I got it outside, but the poor thing wouldn't fly. It just wouldn't really move. So it eventually hopped into some bushes and then went under the fence into next door. I like to think that I actually saved the bird's life, but I also feel quite bad because if it wasn't flying, I really don't know what happened to it. So, I mean, I tried to do a good deed, but I don't really know what happened, but I'm hoping it survived. So like many, I had to work from home, which I have actually loved, and I still continue to work from home 3 days a week. This is whilst social distancing is in place. It's saved me a fortune on train fares. It's given me so much more time because there's no commute, so time when I've been working out and being a lot more productive. So I actually hate going back into the office now. I think the main reason why is obviously I'm spending more money, I'm losing time. Most of my colleagues are not there at the same time that I'm there, so all the advantages of the office are not there anymore. You haven't got all the banter and colleagues to socialise with. You know, that's all lost. So for me, I don't really enjoy going back into the office. My first day back was quite shocking, especially seeing the train station completely deserted. And so here I am in August, unsure of what the future is going to hold. For 3 months, I got a chance to slow down and do some things I really needed to do. But now I'm eager to travel again, and I think everyone's learnt from COVID-19, and I think people will live their lives differently after this. I think people will spend more time with family and friends, because you never know what's going to happen. And I think a lot of people have missed a lot of their family and friends during the time they haven't been able to see them. I think also a lot of people have missed out on not doing things they've always wanted to do. And I think maybe when a lot more opens up again, maybe people will go out and do those things that they've always wanted to do. Because life's too short at the end of the day, and if you don't do it while you can, you may never be able to do it. And I think people are starting to understand that now. For me personally though, I'm so glad that I've been living the life I have for the last 3 years or more. I'm so glad to have visited the countries I have and have met the people I've met on my travels, whilst learning about new cultures and amazing experiences. I plan to continue to live this life as much as I can. Obviously it's a bit difficult at the moment, but for me life is about living, and if COVID's taught me anything, it's to take advantage of what you can, when you can, because these chances may not be around forever.